We have now managed to get our platform-aware dialog up and running. And before we move on, there are a couple of more tweaks that I want to do. So let's get back to the show method in our PlatformAlertDialog. And over here, I want to point out that we are calling showDialog. However, on iOS, there is an alternative method that we should call instead to present a dialog. And that method is called showCupertinoDialog. So I'm now going to change this code so that we can call the correct method depending on which platform we're running on. So here I can type in return and then platform.isIOS. And then I'm going to use the ternary operator and say await show Cupertino which also takes a context and a builder. So the builder is the same as the one below. So it takes a context and can return this. And then if I go on the next line, I want to complete my ternary operator. So I'm going to replace this return keyword with a colon. And I'm also going to import Dart.io so that this code compiles and finds the platform class. I'm going to format the code quickly like this and add a comma so that it looks a bit better. And also I'm going to add a Boolean return type over here. So what this code does now is to call showCupertinoDialog if we're running on iOS and call showDialog if we're running on any other platform. And just for clarity, I could open up the documentation for showCupertinoDialog, and if I scroll all the way to the top, and I can read that showCupertinoDialog displays an iOS style dialog, and also it uses iOS style entrance and exit animations. So I could open the documentation for showDialog instead, and in this case, if I scroll to the top, and I can see that this uses material design conventions instead. So I think it's a good idea to use one or another depending on which platform we're running on. And this is exactly what I've done over here. Okay, so the next thing that I want to talk about is a special parameter that is available on the showDialog function. And this parameter is called barrier dismissible. And this has a value of true by default. And it is used to control whether the user can dismiss the dialog by tapping outside of it. So I can now dismiss this dialog and I can hot reload. And if I tap on sign in again, you can see that I can dismiss the dialog by tapping outside. However, if I set this value to false and then I hot reload again and tap on sign in again, this time I'm tapping outside the dialog, but this is not enough to dismiss it. So in summary, I think it's useful to know that on Android there are multiple ways to control how a dialog can be dismissed, and we can use the barrier dismissible parameter to control this. Okay, so this completes our implementation of the platform alert dialog as a way to inform our users when a sign-in request has failed. Before we move on, there is one last thing that I want to explain. And as you can see here, we are returning this inside our builder. And this is a special keyword in Dart that refers to the object currently being used. So because our platform alert dialog itself is a widget, then inside the show method, we can simply pass this to the builder in order to show the dialog that we have just created. Okay, so let's continue on the next video.